Welcome back to My Dad Watches The Bachelor. I'm Meredith, and I'm here with my co-host, my dad.
Hey, Meredith, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I'm a little tired. Like Zach, I'm a man of truth and transparency. So I have to admit that I had a late night trying to watch the show because your brother and I were at a basketball game last night.
Well, I'm so glad you're being truthful and transparent with us because we saw how well that worked with Zach.
I know. He's trying to be a good guy, but it doesn't always work out that way.
No, I feel like he's just a dumb guy.
Well, I guess we should get into it then. But I guess before we get into it, we last Tuesday night they had the Bachelor, the Women Tell All portion of the Bachelor, which again, with all truth and transparency, I tried to watch, but I couldn't get through it.
I watched it over the course of a few days while I was working. Don't tell my boss. It was like a podcast on in the background.
So I mean, I saw the beginning where Jesse and Zach were hitting up all these parties, and Zach was living the sorority girl life, showing up at the sorority house, all these watch parties.
Yeah, I fast forwarded through that part.
And hanging, I went to a teacher party the teachers were having, where all these teachers were doing Jello shots on a Monday night, no less. Our educational system is in total disarray. And then the girls came on. They started yelling at one another, and I had to turn it off.
Well, our big news coming out of the Women Tell All is that Charity is our next bachelorette.
That is the big news. I guess not totally unexpected, but I think you were a little disappointed just because you feel she's a little bit bland.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in a bland male lead so that the women can shine, and a strong, interesting, quirky, confrontational woman lead with some vanilla guys, like a Hannah Brown type lead. And Charity, from what we've seen, is not that.
She seems very nice, but whether she can pull it off remains to be seen. And we go into last night's fantasy suites with three ladies left, and I'm betting that you would say that at least two of those three, Gabby or Ariel, would be a better lead.
I agree. Yes, Ariel for sure. We've never had anyone like her, on the show in general. Someone of such intelligence and maturity and wit. I'm obsessed with her. I think she's so great. And I think that really dropped the ball there, not having Ariel as the lead.
Is it a requirement that when we get to the ladies or the men tell all, that at that point in time we must declare who the next bachelor or bachelorette is?
No, we usually do it at the after the final rose live show.
Okay. So you think we whiffed on this one?
I do think that we whiffed on this one. Unfortunately, Charity seems like a very nice girl, but it just doesn't seem like it's going to be great TV. And I do feel like this show needs some spice to it to keep it alive, because at this point, we're in CPR mode. I feel like with the show, we've got a very, very light heartbeat.
Well, you and I are doing our best to keep it alive and promote it. So I guess we should talk about last night's episode.
Let's talk about last night's episode. A high for me. It didn't seem like the women all had to stay in the same place this year, like in the same hotel room type thing. So we didn't have to see them, slowly lose their minds, which was a nice change of pace.
And we're in Thailand now. I don't know why we're in Thailand to do this. I guess they just have a big travel budget.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful, but there are less. There are places to go that are beautiful where you don't have to travel as far.
That's true. It is a far travel, but it looks very beautiful.
because last week we were doing hometowns with the girls, and I assume that next week the two remaining girls will be going to meet Zach's family in California, maybe.
Zach's family should be coming to Thailand.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
That
lucky for
sounds
that. Lucky Zach's family.
sounds expensive, but I just worry that our guy Kronk David Putty might not be on the trip.
I know we didn't see any previews with him.
Yeah. Or anyway, all right. I digress.
All right, let's move past Thailand because that's a high, beautiful place. Looks like a great travel destination. Another high for me, just Ariel in general. I love watching her on my screen. Such a cool girl. What the heck is she doing with Zach?
Well, it seems like she may be damaged from previous relationships, and this process is allowing her to get more comfortable and confident with men again. Of course, until the end when she's told that she has to go home. But uh, like you, I've enjoyed Ariel very much. She's got a sharp wit. She seems very intelligent. She seems like just a fun person to be hanging out with. She's very pretty. I think we were discussing who Zach might fall off the chastity train with last week, and we thought that Ariel would be the one,
Yeah,
but she wasn't.
that was another high for me that I was genuinely shocked. And I don't get shocked much by this show. I was shocked like when we leave Ariel's fantasy suite night and she says like, we respected what he wanted, like nothing happened, and I was like, you're kidding me, like that makes no sense to me at all. Like if you're gonna like if anyone was going to convince Zach that his idea was stupid, I thought it would be Ariel. She seems she's just she's a very attractive woman. She's got like that mystery and intrigue that he's so into. Like I thought that was going to get him to crumble.
And I think during during their date, she was talking about the importance of the physical part of the relationship. So yeah, so I thought she was going to jump him.
And we got so many scenes of them just like making out everywhere, all over their fantasy suite, in the pool, on the bed, and that's all they were doing. And cut to the morning and nothing.
Well, so now you'll probably disagree with this, but I thought that Zach's intent of this week not having any sex with three girls, I commend him. I thought that was a high. I thought that was the right approach. I thought from that big lug we had last time, who was sleeping with everyone in sight, we've learned some lessons that if you actually want to get engaged with someone in a week or two, don't sleep with multiple women a week or two before. So I appreciated his intent, although he failed to execute.
I think it's partially good. I think that probably by now he has a front runner, which I think we all think is Katie. I personally think it's Katie. And I think, if you know who you really want to be with, I think you got to try before you buy here. And I think so. I think the perfect way to do fantasy suites, you go in there knowing who you want to be with, you have sex with them, and you don't have sex with the other two people.
I mean, I can follow that for a while, but what if things don't go the way you want with the one that you had relations with?
Well, then you deal with it. And you don't deal with it the way Zach dealt with it.
Which was a super guilt trip, and then when he's on a date with Katie, he says, "I got to tell you something. I fell off the chastity train."
Yeah, and also, while also like kind of losing Gabby in the process.
I guess. I mean, I think I don't think he's lost Gabby, but
She seemed pretty out of it to me at the end
she
of the
seemed
episode. She
she
was
seemed
pissed.
she seemed out of it before they slept together. She was a low. She was like freaking out during the date. She was freaking out after the date. Um,
But a high for me. I liked the way Zach handled Gabby spiraling about being chosen second. I think he did a good job, like kind of talking her down. And I think it's the first time that we saw a woman have an issue and Zach not immediately dump her. So he must like her. He also slept with her, so he must like her.
Well, yeah, I thought he did a good job there too, and but I do have as a low just whole Gabby's got too much drama, too much emotion for me. She's a roller coaster of why am I the second fantasy suite date? Why am I not number one? I've got issues with not being number one, and she's all freaked out during the date, and then when Zach decides that he has to share with other ladies. Which did he ever tell Ariel about this slip up?
No, that's
I
a low for me. He never told Ariel.
Not as far as we know from what we saw on the show. He's guilt ridden. He's talking with his great pal Jesse Palmer, who's also saying, oh, if you had relations with her, maybe it's a good thing because you're exploring your feelings and anyway.
Ariel looked very confused at the rose ceremony when Zach was talking about the mistakes he made and like promises that were broken, and then she just gets the boot.
And she was as graceful as someone could be. I mean, she when she got the boot, she controls her emotions as well as anyone we've seen.
Yeah.
She's not going to let it go for the camera.
She was very classy. Should have been the Bachelorette, and also, I'm loving that she's not shedding a tear over this man. He's not worth it.
Because she knows that her gangster brother is probably going to have him killed in the next month.
All I can say is I hope that either we're having a second Bachelorette season again that Ariel is the lead of, or that she's just the queen of paradise.
I hope that she's too classy to go to paradise.
She's got something in her because she came on the show to start with.
I know. I just would love her. I'd love to be watching her brother watch the show if she's in paradise and watch his temperature rise and decide who he's going to murder.
My last high was just in general. I enjoyed watching the women's reactions when Zach said that they won't be having sex. He really only told Ariel and Gabby, and both of them were just kind of like, what the heck are you talking about? And just like them trying to process really quickly and be like, okay, like take this well, it's okay, like you need to be supportive, even though neither of them were happy with it. I found it amusing.
So let me ask you from a young woman's perspective. I mean, would you feel better if The Bachelor was having sex with 3 girls this week, or would you feel better if he said, look, I have feelings for all of you. I think that it's appropriate for us not to have sex this week. What's the better approach?
I'd probably feel better about him not sleeping with anyone, but I think I would pull the Gabby approach and be like, but maybe I can change his mind.
Okay. Well,
I could be the one, the only one.
Beware the she-devil seductress.
Yeah. Do you have any other highs?
Well, I was amused by the different names that Zach kept using for sex. He kept saying, he was talking about magical moments and physical intimacy and being sexual. He never said anything like, let's bone or anything like that. So I mean, just the very PG terms that they found for sleeping with one another. I found that amusing.
Okay.
And I will say that I was amused during the rose ceremony. When after Gabby made such an issue of being the second person chosen on the fantasy suite dates, she gets the second rose, and after he gives the first rose to Katie, she's giving Zach these laser eyes that said, we had sex and you're not going to give me a rose, and she just was shooting laser beams at him, I thought, and I just found that I found that sort of funny.
She almost seemed surprised when her name got called. Like he's like Gabby, and then she stood there for a second. She's like, "Oh, me," and then walked forward. I was kind
Yeah.
of hoping she would turn him down.
Well, we've gone this far, and whoever gets the final rose still might end up turning him down. 3 weeks later. So this is it's all a mirage. But anyway, what are your lowlights?
Um, this isn't gonna. I know this is not great of me, but tasting new cultural foods as a date, this is my worst nightmare. I don't want to go to Thailand and try bugs or fish or whatever any of that is. I would be, you know, in the bathroom all night and get sick and make a fool of myself in front of my date. Would probably
Yeah,
get immediately dumped. It's a big
but
low
but
for me.
yeah, but remember last week Ariel took Zach out to the deli and was trying all sorts of interesting food, like a filter fish and all that stuff. So to me, it sort of seemed somewhat on brand for them.
Yeah, but I was like, I think I would much rather prefer any other date. Another low for me, Gabby spiraling about being chosen second for fantasy suites and being chosen second in past relationships. We do normally see some spiraling happening this week, but not this kind of spiraling. So at least we're switching it up a little bit. But I was just like, ugh, let's move past this.
I had that as well. She just seemed to be very unhinged, so I wasn't digging that.
I think my biggest low, however, was Katie moving past the sex stuff so quickly. Like we leave the day portion of the date, and she is just so upset. Keeps telling the producer she's not happy. How is she supposed to go into like do tonight when she's not happy? She like doesn't want to be there, and then she shows up for the night portion, and she's just like, "Oh yeah, we're good." And I think she should have made him squirm for a lot longer.
So I felt like we went through three stages of Katie during this episode. In that, the initial they're starting their date, they're doing kayaking, in some river in Thailand, and to me, Katie's just sounding so shallow in that she's saying they're kayaking and Katie's saying I love the water, and then it starts to rain and Katie's saying I love the rain, and I think she must love the air and she must love flowers, and and she just seems so, I don't know, bland, whatever. Just she seems to have no personality. And then after Zach shared this information that he had relations with one of the other women, um, I, I appreciated the fact that she did the way she took it, and she didn't let him off the hook right there. And I thought she hit him. I say hit him, but she was not as understanding, and tried to explain to him that, hey, this is not a cool way for our date to go, so there was that. And then the third stage, which you say is, after telling the producer, I think I want to go home, she's back at dinner and everything's okay. So I thought it was just really weird.
Yeah, I don't know what happened between the end of the day date versus the beginning of the night date. If the producers really talked her off some ledge or something, but she just seemed completely ready to like sweep it under the rug. And I was just like, yeah, I think this probably should have been a bigger issue than it appeared to be.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the other thing is, they're sitting there with their feet in the water, and there's thunder and lightning. You got to get out of the water there. That's dangerous. You want to get out of the water.
Also, Zach's like wearing flip flops in the water, and it's just like I've got issues with like men's feet in flip flops in general. It's just not a good look. Unless you're at a beach, don't wear flip flops.
Okay, okay. I'll
What did you
try to
think
remember.
about that conversation between Gabby and Katie while like Ariel's getting sent home and Katie's like, I know you were the only one.
And Gabby is saying that she feels like she's wearing the scarlet A on her chest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know what to make of it. I mean, on the one hand, I guess the only time that these people actually have any time with no cameras and can really talk or have sex or do whatever it is going to do they're going to do is when they're in the fantasy suites on this one night. So on the one hand, I can appreciate Gabby's feeling like, hey, why are you sharing this with everybody in the world? Um, this isn't cool. Uh, on the other hand, I can also this is sort of a TV show, and these girls are going to watch all this stuff. So if he's going to end up with Katie, and they're sort of it sort of insinuates that Gabby and Zach were together that night, I can understand why Zach might want to come clean now as opposed to later.
It doesn't even insinuate it though. We didn't know it happened until Zach blabbed about it, which kind of it takes me to my right reason, which I'm giving to Gabby because I thought that she was really doing Zach a solid after the fantasy suite date. She like understood that Zach had this like big proclamation that he wasn't going to have sex with anyone. And even though they did, she played it up to the cameras like they didn't. She was like, yep, some good cuddle sesh. Gotta love some good cuddle sesh. Like she was making it seem like she was kind of disappointed that nothing further happened. So we wouldn't have known that they slept with each other if Zach didn't have like his guilt ridden like confession to Jesse.
No,
Trying to protect him and also keep their private life private, which I found to be respectable.
yeah, I understand. I guess I understand what you're saying there. I mean, I guess I grapple with the whole transparency versus total transparency and Zach's desire to be truthful and honest. In that, there are probably certain things that one doesn't need to share. Now, I think if you're sleeping around, that's probably going to come out. But
But he
if
didn't need to tell Katie. Katie didn't know there was this proclamation that there's no sex during Fantasy Suite Week. He could have just gone into that date, not said anything, and Katie would have just assumed that like that was on the table for all of the dates. The only one he owed an explanation to was Ariel, and she never got it.
well, Katie would eventually have found out there was this proclamation about no sex. You can go back and watch the shows, or her pals are going to tell her.
Yeah.
And
But if he didn't make that proclamation to her and it was kind of like on them to decide that night, Katie and Zach, if they wanted to, then I don't think it's
well,
that big of a deal. The proclamation's off the table already.
but at some point, don't you think Katie's if she were to end up with Zach, is she going to say, by the way, did you and Gabby, was there anything that went on there?
I mean,
And
yeah,
then
he
he's
has
going
to
to come
tell her
clean.
eventually if he ends
I
up
don't.
with her, not if he ends
Yeah,
up with Gabby.
true. Anyway,
I kind of skipped
I,
ahead. Did you have any other lows?
um, no, that pretty much. That's Zach just not being able to live up to his proclamation. I found to be a low. So that there was that.
Okay, fair.
So for my right reason, I did give it to Ariel, and then I just thought she was the classiest person and probably the most interesting person that we had on the show. So, uh, goodbye to Ariel. We missed you. We wish you the best. Hope your brother doesn't take revenge out on everyone, and we hope that you find the right person and live happily ever after.
Yeah, we love you, Ariel. Never
Preferably
change.
not on Paradise Island, but
Yeah,
anyway,
hold off till you get to be the lead. You're good
yeah.
enough. My wrong reason, Zach. Duh. Going back on his word on not having sex when no one even asked him to make such a statement. And then, having to bring everyone into it. Very, very messy. Not a good look.
Well, and I also had Zach down as the wrong reason for not living up to his no sex promises, and also the fact of if you're going to come totally clean, it seemed like he owed Ariel a conversation. And from what we could see on the show, at least the way they cut it up, that did not appear to happen.
Agreed.
So that was it.
Okay, my MVP of the episode, I'm giving it to Gabby because she seduced the no sex on sex week bachelor after having a total meltdown during her date. And
that's MVP material.
that is just impressive.
Okay.
What a queen. So
Okay.
didn't see it coming. And what kind of episode would we have without that seduction? So MVP Gabby.
I guess it did make for better television or better drama.
Yeah, we would have been a snooze fest otherwise.
I grant you that.
Do you have any fatherly advice to wrap us up?
Well, as I mentioned, I don't think it's good to have sex with multiple people, the week before you're about to get engaged. So, and with that said, I'm not the sort of person that says, oh, you need to wait till you're married or you need to wait till you're engaged. I agree with, I think what you said of, you try it
before you buy.
Is that what you said? I mean, but I think that you have to be in a relationship with one person at that point in time and not with three. So that's, but I do agree with you on that. My grandmother, your great grandmother, used to say, the guys aren't going to buy the cow if they can get the milk for free. So don't give it away. So there you go.
That goes both ways, though.
I agree. And I would also just say, be careful when you break the heart of a girl who has a gangster for a brother. You might want someone else to start your car for a while there, Zach. So be careful out there.
He's not welcome in the city of New York.
He better stay in Texas and California.
Better watch his back.
Yeah.
Well, that's some good fatherly advice. We'd like to thank The Mesh for hosting our podcast, and if you like what you're hearing, feel free to give us a 5-star rating and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And join us next week as we discuss the finale from the right perspective and my dad's.